The night is quiet now. The world beyond your room has softened into a gentle hum at the beginning of a long and soothing journey into the story of human emotion. As you settle into stillness, notice the soft weight of the body resting, the slow rhythm of breath, the quiet rise and fall that continues without effort. Emotion begins here, in these simple movements, long before thoughts appear, long before words take shape. Emotion is the oldest language you know. It is the first language the human body ever spoke. Before there was speech, before there were stories, before there was memory held in sentences the body spoke through sensation. Warmth meant safety. Cold meant risk. A racing heart meant danger. A relaxed breath meant home. You belong to a lineage of living beings who understood the world through feeling long before understanding it through. Tonight, we return to that ancient language, slowly, gently, with curiosity. Emotion is not just a momentary mood. It is a message, a wave of biology, a pattern of electricity and chemistry moving through muscle, blood, and breath. It is your body's poetry, a soft conversation between cells, a story told in pulses and rhythms. As you listen, you may feel your breath becoming slower, the edges of the day drifting away. This is the perfect state to wander inward, to explore emotion, not as something to resist or judge, but as something to understand, something to befriend, something that has always been trying to help you. This is the language of the body. This is the voice beneath thought. This is where we begin. Chapter 1. The first feelings. Long before humans built cities or shaped tools out of stone. Long before firelight flickered on cave walls, life on Earth already understood emotion. Not in the way we name it today, but in the way bodies respond to the world. The first creatures sensed pressure, heat, vibration, the approach of danger, and the presence of nourishment. These early sensations were the foundations of what would one day become fear, comfort, attraction, aversion, and curiosity. Imagine for a moment an early human ancestor standing at the edge of a forest, the air cool against the skin, the slow crackle of leaves shifting underfoot, the scent of damp earth rising. Every sensation communicates something. A sudden snap of a twig sends a quick wave through the chest, a tightening, a sharpened alertness. This was fear in its earliest form, a signal meant to protect, not yet named, not yet understood consciously, but felt, immediate. The first emotions were not thought, they were physical shifts, muscles tightening, heart rate rising, breath shortening, blood moving to the limbs to prepare for action. The body acted long before the brain interpreted the meaning. You are built from this lineage, from bodies that survived, because they knew how to respond quickly and wisely. Early humans felt warmth near a fire and understood safety. They felt cool air and knew night was falling. They felt the closeness of another body and sensed connection. These sensations shaped the earliest forms of comfort, affection, and belonging. Even before language existed, emotions guided the human path. They taught where to go, who to trust, what to avoid. Picture a small group of early humans gathered around a fire at dusk, the flames breathing softly, shadows swaying gently around them. The warmth on their skin was more than temperature. It was the feeling of being together, a shared safety, a softening of the chest, a lengthening of breath. This was love in its early form, not a word, not a story, a biological recognition of closeness, a bonding that helped families survive. And then, consider the child of that ancient world, the child who runs, plays, discovers. The sparkle of curiosity that appears when something new is found, the rising energy in the limbs, the laughter that spills without reason. Joy was not learned. It emerged naturally as a signal that the world was safe enough to explore. Joy meant flourishing. Joy meant growth. Even now, joy tells your body that you are not just surviving but living. Emotion evolved as a guide. The body spoke first. The mind learned to listen later. And as humans developed language, they finally found a way to translate these sensations into words. But the body kept its old rhythms, its old wisdom. Even today, you feel first and think second. A flutter in the stomach, a tightening in the throat, a warmth spreading through the chest. Each one carries a message that began thousands of generations before you. As you breathe here, in the quiet of your room, notice the subtle movements inside you, the gentle heaviness, the softness gathering around the eyelids, the slow release of tension. These are emotions speaking in their original language. You do not need to interpret them. You only need to feel them. Emotion began as a way to navigate the world, a compass built into the body. And though the world has changed, that compass remains. No matter how many years pass, no matter how complex thought becomes, emotion is still your deepest connection to life. It's the thread that ties you to every human who has ever lived, every ancestor who felt warmth, fear, longing, hope, every child who rested in the safety of a parent's arms. You are part of that story, and tonight we follow it deeper. Let your breath move softly. Let your attention drift like a slow tide. We move now from the origins of emotion to the biology that shapes every feeling you experience, where the body begins each emotional story, where sensation becomes meaning, where the ancient language continues its quiet, steady conversation within you. The biology of emotion. In the quiet rhythm of your breath, emotion begins long before the mind becomes aware of it. The body is always listening, always monitoring, always responding. Every moment, countless signals rise and fall within you, shaping the inner landscape long before thoughts appear. Emotion is not an abstract idea. It is a physical event, a wave moving through flesh and blood, a messenger carried by breath and heartbeat. Deep inside the chest, the heart beats with a steady pulse. With each contraction, it sends a soft ripple of information through the body, a rhythm that the brain constantly interprets. When something startles you, the heart quickens. When something soothes you, it slows. This simple shift is one of the most ancient languages your body speaks. The heart does not wait for the brain to decide how you feel. It acts. It responds. It signals safety or danger in fractions of a second. Alongside the heart, the lungs create their own emotional vocabulary. A long exhale tells the nervous system that the moment is safe. A quick breath signals alertness. A held breath speaks of anticipation. Breathing is not just air moving in and out. It is a conversation between the body and the mind. Soft and slow breaths tell the body to rest. Rapid breaths tell it to prepare. Even before you understand why you feel a certain way, your breath has already shifted to guide you. Beneath all of this, the autonomic nervous system moves quietly. It is divided into two branches that shape emotional experience. One branch energizes the body, preparing it to act. The other softens the body, allowing it to rest. These two systems are always in dialogue, like two gentle currents moving through an ocean, sometimes flowing together and sometimes pulling in opposite directions. When the sympathetic system activates, the body becomes alert. Pupils widen, muscles tighten, blood moves to the limbs. This is the spark of fear, the rise of anger, the energy of excitement. It is the body preparing for possibility, for movement, for life. When the parasympathetic system takes over, the body settles. The heartbeat slows. The muscles release tension. digestion deepens. This is the warmth of safety, the calm of trust, the softness of love. Emotion is the shifting balance between these two states, a dance between activation and rest, a fluid movement that continues throughout your entire life. Even now, as you listen, your body is adjusting itself in response to the sound of the story. Perhaps your breath is lengthening. Perhaps your shoulders are releasing a little more. These subtle changes are emotional currents moving through you. Inside the bloodstream, hormones shape emotion with their own quiet power. Adrenaline sharpens awareness. Cortisol prepares the body for challenge. Dopamine adds spark and anticipation. Serotonin steadies mood and balance. Oxytocin softens the heart and creates trust. These chemicals drift through the body like small messages in a flowing river, carrying emotional meaning to different tissues and cells. Imagine a moment of sudden fear. A shadow moves in the corner of your vision, or a loud sound breaks the silence. Before you even understand what happened, hormones surge through your bloodstream. Your heart leaps, your breath tightens, muscles brace. This is emotion beginning in the body. The brain has not yet created a story. It has not yet interpreted the moment. The body is speaking first. The brain listens second. Now imagine a moment of gentle connection. Someone you love places a warm hand on your back, or a friend sits quietly beside you. In these moments, hormones shift in the opposite direction. The body releases tension, breath slows, muscles soften, warmth spreads through the chest. Again, the body responds before you consciously register what you feel. Emotion begins with sensation. Thought arrives later. Deep within the torso lies the gut, often called the second brain. It contains millions of neurons and produces many of the same neurotransmitters found in the brain. When something does not feel right, the stomach often knows before the mind does. A twist of discomfort, a flutter of unease, a fullness of calm. These sensations are the body giving you guidance in its oldest language. Even the skin participates in emotion. Goosebumps rise when fear sweeps through the body, or when awe washes over you. Warmth spreads across the face when you feel affection or embarrassment. The skin tightens or softens, depending on whether you feel threatened or safe. Touch becomes one of the most powerful emotional signals of all, able to soothe or intensify nearly every feeling. Emotion is not contained in one system. It is an orchestra of signals. The heart, the lungs, the gut, the muscles, the bloodstream, the nerves that weave through every part of you. Together they create the first wave of every feeling. This wave rises long before words appear in the mind, long before you can name what you feel. As the body creates these signals, the brain listens. It receives information from every part of the body and tries to make sense of it. Why is the heart racing? Why are the muscles tightening? Why is there a flutter in the stomach? The brain turns sensation into meaning. It turns biology into experience. It turns waves of chemistry into the poetry of emotion. This connection between body and mind is constant. It never stops. Even in sleep, the body continues communicating, and the brain continues interpreting. Dreams themselves are shaped by emotion. The mind processes the feeling states the body has carried through the day. As you rest here, feeling the slow movement of breath, you are sensing the same biological rhythms that shaped humanity from its earliest moments. The body remains wise. It knows how to protect you, how to guide you, how to tell you what matters. Emotion is not weakness. It is communication. It is the body whispering its truth. Let your breath remain slow and gentle. Let your body feel heavy and supported. You are safe. You can let the body speak its language without resistance. And as you drift in this quiet space, we move now into the landscape of the brain itself, into the place where sensation becomes experience, where the electrical sparks of countless neurons weave together the meaning of every feeling. The emotional brain. The brain is a vast landscape, a living network of cells linked by delicate threads of electricity and chemistry. Every thought, memory, and emotion begins as a tiny signal traveling through this network. But the emotional brain, the part that shapes your inner world, is unique. It is ancient. It evolved long before the parts of the brain responsible for logic and language. Emotion begins deep beneath the surface of conscious awareness, in a region shaped by millions of years of evolution. This region includes structures like the amygdala, the hippocampus, the insula, and the prefrontal cortex. Each one plays a different role. Each one whispers a different part of the emotional story. The amygdala listens for danger. It is small but powerful. When something unexpected happens, the amygdala reacts before you even have time to think. A sudden sound, a fast movement, a shift in tone. This tiny structure sends signals throughout the body, preparing it to act. The amygdala does not wait. Its purpose is survival. Its voice is immediate. Near the amygdala lies the hippocampus, a structure involved in memory. It helps place emotional events into context. It tells you whether you have been in this situation before, whether this moment is familiar or new, whether the emotional response should be strong or gentle. Memory and emotion are deeply linked because the hippocampus and amygdala work together, shaping your understanding of every moment. The insula sits deeper in the brain and acts as the bridge between sensation and emotion. It feels the heartbeat, it feels the breath, it senses the vibrations of the gut and the subtle shifts in the muscles. The insula translates these sensations into feelings. It allows you to know that a racing heart means excitement or fear. It allows you to feel warmth in the chest as affection. It turns physical sensations into emotional awareness. Then there is the prefrontal cortex. This is the part of the brain that makes sense of emotion. It helps you interpret what you feel and decide how to act. It helps you understand the difference between true danger and imagined fear. It helps you soothe yourself, guide yourself, regulate yourself. While the deeper parts of the brain generate emotion, the prefrontal cortex helps shape the story around it. These structures do not work alone. They move in harmony, creating the flow of emotion. The amygdala reacts, the insula feels, the hippocampus remembers, the prefrontal cortex interprets. Together, they form the emotional brain. Together, they create the texture of your inner world. But the emotional brain does not only react to the present moment, it also carries the echoes of the past. Memories stored long ago still shape your emotional responses today. A scent might trigger warmth, a sound might trigger unease, a familiar environment might soften you. These reactions come from the deep connection between memory and emotion. When you feel something strongly, the emotional brain begins storing the moment with more detail. It marks the memory as important. It highlights it so that you remember it. Emotion carves experience into the mind. The stronger the feeling, the deeper the imprint. This is why the most meaningful moments of your life are held not just in thought, but in sensation. A hug you remember, a voice you loved, a moment of fear, a moment of joy. Every memory is shaped by emotion, and every emotion is shaped by the body. As you rest here, your emotional brain remains active in gentle ways. It senses the environment. It listens to the quiet. It feels the safety of stillness. It softens because nothing demands urgency. Nothing calls for protection. In this quiet state, the emotional brain begins to slow its rhythms. The amygdala relaxes. The insula feels calm. The prefrontal cortex grows quiet and soft. You are in a state where the emotional brain can settle, where the day can fade, where the inner landscape becomes open and spacious. Now, with the body calm and the emotional brain softened, we step into one of the most ancient emotions of all. The emotion that kept your ancestors alive. The emotion that shaped human evolution more than any other. We step into the story of fear. If you'd like me to continue directly into the next long section, simply say, "Go on." Fear. Fear is one of the oldest emotions your body knows. It rises from a place far deeper than thought. It is shaped by everything that kept your ancestors alive. It is carved into the nervous system like ancient writing etched into stone. Fear begins long before you notice it. A tightening in the chest, a quickening of the heart, a sudden alertness in the muscles. These sensations appear before the mind forms a story, before you know why you feel what you feel. The body speaks first because survival demanded speed. In the earliest moments of human history, fear was a guide, not a punishment, not a flaw, a signal, a warning, a spark of energy that told the body to prepare. Imagine an ancient human walking along the edge of tall grass, the sky dimming, the air cooling as night approaches. Every sound, every shift in the wind, every unfamiliar movement carried meaning. A distant growl, a branch snapping, the low rustle of something unseen. In those moments, the body reacted instantly. The heart accelerated, the breath tightened, muscles grew ready to run. These responses happened in a fraction of a second, a language older than language. The brain structures responsible for fear still work the same way today. The amygdala detects potential threat before you consciously understand what is happening. It reacts with fierce efficiency. It sends signals through the entire body. The heart pumps faster to supply the muscles. The breath becomes sharp to increase oxygen. Vision narrows. Hearing sharpens. The body prepares for movement, action, protection. Fear is a full-body event, a surge of electricity and chemistry meant to keep you alive. But fear is not only a response to danger, it is also a response to uncertainty, the unknown, the moments when your mind cannot predict what comes next. The body dislikes unpredictability. It evolved in a world where uncertainty meant risk. So even now, thousands of years later, fear can rise in situations that are safe but unfamiliar. A new environment, a difficult conversation, a quiet room where the mind begins to think too much. Fear can also arise in the absence of any external threat. Sometimes the body feels something inside, a shift in breath or heartbeat, and the brain interprets it as fear. A flutter in the stomach, a sudden jolt of adrenaline, a shallow breath. These small physical changes can ripple through the emotional brain, creating the sense that something is wrong. The mind searches for an explanation, a story to match the sensation. The story is almost always an attempt to understand what the body already feels. Fear is not your enemy. It is a guardian. It tells you when to pause, when to pay attention, when to protect yourself. In the lives of early humans, fear kept families safe. It kept groups alert. It taught caution around cliffs, storms, predators, and poisonous plants. It shaped decision-making. It helped humans navigate the darkness. Even today, fear continues to protect you. You feel it when something is important. You feel it when something matters. You feel it when your boundaries are crossed or when the future feels uncertain. Fear is the body's way of saying this moment requires care. This moment deserves your awareness. But fear also has a softer side. When the body realizes that the danger has passed, fear slowly dissolves. Muscles release, breath deepens, the heart slows. This gentle unwinding is just as ancient as the initial surge. It is the body's way of returning to balance. In the past, it meant the predator walked away. The storm passed. The night became quiet again. The group gathered back around the fire. Picture that moment. The first human communities sitting together as the night settles. The crackling of fire. The warmth against the skin. The stars slowly appearing above. The relief after fear always felt different. It was calm, layered with gratitude. Quiet, layered with presence. The afterglow of safety. This same shift happens within you today. After fear rises, your body attempts to guide you back to steadiness. The parasympathetic nervous system begins to soften the edges. The muscles unwind. The breath opens. The emotional brain recognizes safety returning. Even when fear feels overwhelming, the body always carries the ability to return to calm. This capacity is built into you. It is older than your thoughts, older than your memories. Fear is not meant to last. It is meant to move through you, to rise and fall like a wave, to warn and then to release. When fear lingers, it is often because the body still believes it needs to protect you. Sometimes this belief comes from past experiences, old memories stored in the brain and body, moments that were overwhelming, moments that left an imprint. These memories can make the emotional brain sensitive, like a bruise that aches when touched. But even then, fear remains a message, not a verdict. A call for gentleness, a signal that something inside you needs care. When you feel fear, your body is trying to help you. It is trying to hold you, trying to keep you safe. And in this quiet space, as you listen with soft attention, you may feel how the body responds to safety as well. The breath slow and steady, the heart calm, the muscles loose and warm. These are signals too. Signals of rest, signals of peace. With fear understood, softened, and placed gently back into its ancient role as guardian, the emotional landscape opens to another feeling. One just as deep. One that shaped human evolution in a different way. Not through alertness and protection, but through connection and bonding. A feeling that taught humans to stay together, to nurture, to trust, to form families and communities. Now we move into the quiet radiance of love. Love. Love begins in the body long before it becomes a word, long before it becomes a story you tell yourself. It rises as warmth, as safety, as a deep and quiet knowing that you are not alone in the world. Long before humans understood science or psychology, they understood love through touch, through closeness, through the simple rhythm of bodies resting near one another. Love is older than speech, older than memory, older than the human mind as we know it. It is the emotion that allowed early humans to survive, to protect one another, to raise their young, and to build communities in a world that was often unpredictable and wild. Imagine two early humans sitting together at the entrance of a cave. The wind brushing past them, the dim glow of embers at their feet, the night beyond them full of shadows and sounds. When they sat together, their bodies softened, their breath grew slower, their heartbeat steadied. Even without language, the body recognized closeness as safety. The presence of another had a measurable effect on the nervous system. Shoulder to shoulder, heartbeat to heartbeat, warmth to warmth. This was love in its earliest form. Not romantic, not poetic, biological, protective, life-giving. In the body, love begins with regulation. When you feel safe with someone, your nervous system shifts from alertness to calm. The valgus nerve, which runs from the brain through the chest and stomach, relaxes. The breath deepens. The heart rhythm becomes smoother. Muscles soften. This change is not something you think your way into. It is something you feel. Something the body recognizes. Something the emotional brain responds to. When you are near someone who feels safe to you, your brain releases oxytocin, a gentle hormone often called the bonding chemical. Oxytocin softens fear, increases trust, and enhances the sense of connection. It lowers stress and calms the amygdala. It encourages closeness and allows the body to rest. This hormone was essential for early humans. It helped parents bond with their children. It helped partners stay close. It helped groups work together, hunt together, care for one another. Oxytocin built communities. Communities built survival. But love is not only about safety. It is also about presence. When you are loved, the body feels seen. The insula, the region of the brain that processes internal sensations, becomes more active in gentle ways. You become more aware of your own heartbeat, your own breath, your own presence in the world. Love heightens self-awareness, not through tension, but through softening. It tells you that you matter, that your existence is felt by another. Love also strengthens memory. Moments shared with someone you care about become more vivid, more detailed. The hippocampus stores them with greater clarity because the emotional brain marks them as significant. A shared laugh, a quiet conversation, a simple moment of stillness. The brain understands that these moments matter. They become part of your inner landscape, shaping the way you understand yourself. Love has many forms. There is the love between parent and child, a bond so powerful that the child's survival depends on it. When a parent holds their child, the parent's heartbeat slows and the child's heartbeat synchronizes with it. The warmth of touch soothes the child's nervous system. Tears soften. Muscles release. This is not something the child learns. It is something the child is born knowing how to feel. Love begins in the body long before the mind develops the capacity to name it. There is the love between friends. Ancient humans survived because of cooperation. They shared food, watched over one another's young, protected each other from danger. Trust became a biological necessity. Friendships were not just emotional bonds, but survival strategies. Even today, when you sit with a friend, laugh with them, or simply exist beside them, your body responds as it did thousands of years ago. The nervous system settles, the body relaxes, the emotional brain finds comfort. There is romantic love, a feeling that combines biology and meaning, chemistry and story. Romantic love activates reward systems in the brain. Dopamine creates energy, excitement, anticipation. Oxytocin creates closeness. Serotonin stabilizes mood. The body becomes attuned to another person, responding to their presence in ways that reshape the rhythms of your own heartbeat and breath. Romantic love is not just a feeling. It is a deep coordination between two nervous systems, a synchronized dance of safety and desire. But love is not only found in relationships. Love also exists in quiet moments of connection with the world. The feeling of sitting under a tree and sensing its stillness. The comfort of sunlight warming your skin. The tenderness of holding an animal. The soft ache in the chest when something beautiful moves you. These moments carry the same biological signature of love. A softening, a warmth, a sense of belonging. Love allows humans to flourish. When you feel loved, your immune system strengthens. Your stress hormones decrease. Your sleep deepens. Even your perception of pain changes. The body becomes more resilient. The mind becomes clearer. Love is not simply an emotion. It is a physiological state that supports healing, growth, and creativity. Yet love is not always gentle. It carries vulnerability. To love is to risk loss, to open oneself to the possibility of change, separation, or grief. The emotional brain understands this risk. That is why love can be so intense, why the heartbeat can flutter, why the breath can catch, why the body feels both exposed and protected at the same time. Love is powerful because it involves trust, and trust involves surrender. The body knows that to love is to open, and openness requires courage. Even still, the body chooses love again and again, because the benefits are greater than the risks. Love shapes identity. It shapes memory. It shapes the path of life. Without love, early humans would not have survived. Without love, you would not become who you are. Sit for a moment inside this understanding. Love is not something outside of you. It is something your body is designed to feel, designed to give, designed to receive. The warmth in your chest when you think of someone you care for, the softness in your breath when you feel safe, the heaviness in your shoulders releasing when someone comforts you. These are biological expressions of love. Your body is fluent in this language. It always has been. As you lie here, feeling the quiet weight of your own existence, notice the subtle openness that comes with calm, the gentle rhythm of your breath, the slow pulse of the heart. These are the same rhythms that once told your ancestors they were safe beside others. Connection is woven into your physiology. You carry thousands of years of love inside you. Now, as love settles like a warm glow, another emotion begins to rise. A lighter one, a playful one, a feeling that carries the spark of life and the energy of curiosity. This feeling restored early humans after danger passed. It lifted their spirits. It brought laughter, discovery, and creativity. It shaped childhood, community, and human evolution. It is time to drift into the warmth of joy. Joy. Joy is the gentle light of the emotional world. It does not rush in like fear, nor bind the heart like love. It arrives as a slow glow, a rising warmth that spreads through the body like early sunlight. Joy was essential to the survival of early humans, yet it is often overlooked. It is softer than fear, quieter than anger, less urgent than sadness, and less consuming than love. But joy is what kept humans exploring, learning, connecting, and expanding. It is the emotion that made life not only survivable, but meaningful. Joy begins in the body before the mind notices it. Long before you realize you are happy, the body shifts into states of openness and ease. The breath becomes light without effort. The muscles loosen. The eyes soften. The heart beats in a smooth, even rhythm. Joy is not simply an emotional spark. It is a full body state of safety and curiosity. The nervous system reads the world and whispers, "Here, in this moment, everything is okay." And because everything is okay, you can explore, you can laugh, you can discover. To understand joy in its earliest form, imagine an ancient child standing near the edge of a forest. The danger of the night has passed. The adults of the group talk softly as the sun rises. The cool air is gentle. Birds sing above. For the child, there is space to wander, to poke the earth with a stick, to splash a hand in a stream, to chase a small animal through the grass. This curiosity, this energy, this lightness was joy in. It taught the young to understand the world. It strengthened the body. It expanded the mind. It shaped social bonds. Joy also helped adults survive. After a moment of danger, joy was the signal that the world was safe again. When food was plentiful, when the group sat together beside a fire, when there was no threat nearby, joy encouraged celebration, storytelling, play, singing, dancing. These acts were not luxuries. They were essential to the cohesion of early human groups. Joy is the glue that binds people beyond necessity. It is the feeling that turns survival into community. In the body, joy begins with dopamine. This neurotransmitter, often associated with pleasure, is actually more connected to motivation, curiosity, anticipation. When you play, when you laugh, when you explore something new, dopamine rises. It gives you energy. It opens the mind to possibility. It nudges you forward into the world with enthusiasm. But joy is not dopamine alone. Serotonin brings stability. Oxytocin brings closeness. Endorphins bring ease. Together, they create the warm, uplifted feeling of joy, a feeling that can spread through the body like a slow and gentle flame. Joy is also connected to movement. When early humans felt joyful, they danced, played, ran, moved their bodies in spontaneous ways. This movement was not simply expression. It was part of regulating the nervous system. Motion allowed stress to release, laughter to deepen, breath to expand. Even today, joy often appears in the body as an urge to move, smile, jump, sway. Children do this naturally. Their bodies know joy without hesitation. The inner child within every adult remembers this too, though it often becomes quiet beneath the layers of life. Joy also shapes memory in powerful ways. Moments of joy do not simply fade. They become anchors. The brain marks them with extra attention. The hippocampus stores them with clarity. That is why a moment of genuine laughter can remain vivid for years. Why a beautiful morning, a shared joke, or a simple moment of peace can return to you again and again. Joy imprints itself on the brain like sunlight warming stone. Slowly, deeply, lastingly. Joy is closely tied to social connection. When humans play together, their nervous systems synchronize. Heartbeats begin to align. Breath patterns harmonize. Eye contact creates tiny shifts in facial muscles that send signals of safety. Laughter releases oxytocin, which strengthens trust. Joy between people builds bonds stronger than fear or necessity alone. It creates a sense of shared existence, a feeling that life is better together than alone. Even solitude can hold joy, the quiet joy of sitting beside a river, the joy of watching clouds drift overhead, the joy of feeling warm sunlight on the skin. These moments allow the parasympathetic system to deepen into rest. In these states, the body repairs itself, the mind reorganizes, creativity rises naturally. Joy in solitude is the gentle recognition that you and the world belong to one another. Joy is also resilience. It is the emotion that keeps the nervous system balanced. In times of challenge, the memory of joy acts as a stabilizing force. It reminds the emotional brain that life is not only made of fear, sadness, or anger. There are moments of laughter, connection, curiosity, and wonder woven through the story. Joy is the counterweight to suffering. It does not erase pain. It softens the edges so pain does not overwhelm. In a physiological sense, joy expands perception. When you are afraid, your field of vision narrows. When you are joyful, it widens. You see more of the world. You notice more details. You hear more layers of sound. You become more receptive, more open. This openness allowed ancient humans to discover new foods, new paths, new ideas. It allowed them to solve problems creatively. Joy is not frivolous. It is adaptive. It is intelligent. In moments of true joy, the emotional brain quiets down. The prefrontal cortex becomes more flexible. The amygdala relaxes. The insula focuses on positive sensations. This balance creates a state where the mind is calm, yet alive. A state where the body is relaxed, yet energized. A state where creativity flows without force. Picture an early evening long ago. A group of humans returning to camp after a day of gathering. They share food. They laugh. They rest. Children play near the fire. The night air is cool, but the flames are warm. In this simple scene, every nervous system is synchronizing. Every heartbeat is slowing. Every breath is softening. Joy is spreading like warmth through the group. It is subtle but powerful, a quiet force holding them together, a signal that life is safe, meaningful, worth exploring. Even now, as you rest here, joy can find you in small ways. The ease of your breath, the gentle weight of your body settling, the simple comfort of being held by a story. These sensations are not joy in its loud form. They are joy in its early stage, a soft glow, a quiet warmth, an emotional exhale. The world often teaches that joy must be large, intense, extraordinary, but the body knows the truth. Joy is most powerful when it is small, when it is steady, when it is woven into the background of your life like a calm river moving beneath the surface. The joy of a warm drink, the joy of someone remembering your name, the joy of quiet morning light, the joy of rest. This deeper understanding of joy brings us closer to the next emotion, one that does not lift but grounds, one that is heavier but equally meaningful, one that helps the body process, release, and heal. A feeling that is not weakness but wisdom, a feeling that slows the world so you can understand it. Now we walk into the landscape of sadness. Sadness. Sadness moves slowly through the body. It does not strike quickly, like fear, or rise brightly, like joy. It settles. It spreads like a cool mist across the chest, a heaviness that presses gently but firmly on the ribs, as if the body is trying to hold itself together. Sadness is not a flaw or a failure. It is one of the most necessary emotions human beings possess. It is the emotion that helps the body process loss. It helps the mind integrate change. It allows the nervous system to release what it can no longer carry. In the earliest days of human life, sadness served a purpose that was deeply biological. When early humans faced loss, whether through death, separation, injury, or the disappearance of something essential, sadness slowed them down. It reduced energy. It quieted the mind. It encouraged the group to gather close. Sadness was a signal not only to the individual, but to the entire community. It said, "Here is someone who needs tenderness. Here is someone who must not be left alone." Sadness strengthened social bonds by inviting others to come near. It was a biological and emotional call for comfort. The body expresses sadness in clear physical ways. The throat tightens. The chest feels heavy. The face softens. Breath becomes unsteady. Tears form. Tears themselves are an ancient release mechanism. Emotional tears contain stress hormones that the body needs to expel. They are not a sign of weakness. They are a sign that the body is trying to restore balance. After crying, the parasympathetic nervous system activates, bringing calm. The heart rate slows. Muscles relax. The breath deepens. Sadness, when allowed to move through you, is a healing process. Long ago, sadness protected relationships. When someone in the group mourned, others would gather beside them. They would share silence, food, warmth. The presence of others helped regulate the nervous system. It helped the grieving person return slowly to equilibrium. Even today, the body responds the same way. When someone sits with you during sadness, your physiology shifts. Your heart rate steadies. Your breath becomes deeper. Oxytocin rises. You feel less alone, not because of words, but because your body senses another body near yours. This is thousands of years old. Sadness also shapes memory. When something matters deeply, the emotional brain marks it with a kind of gravity. The hippocampus stores it with precision. Sadness honors significance. It tells you that an experience touched something important in your inner world. Without sadness, The mind would drift too quickly past moments that shape identity. Sadness slows you down, forcing you to reflect, to understand, to integrate. There are different kinds of sadness, each with its own rhythm. There is the sadness of losing someone you love. This sadness is heavy and lingering. It shifts the body into long periods of reflection. Breath becomes softer. The world feels quieter. This sadness is the nervous system recalibrating to an absence it does not yet understand. There is the sadness of change. When a chapter of life ends, even if it ends gently, sadness rises to help you release what once was. This sadness is not sharp, but slow. It is the body's way of transitioning from one emotional landscape to another. It says goodbye in ways the mind cannot articulate. There is sadness born from longing, the longing for something that could have been, the longing for something lost, the longing for something not yet found. This sadness rests in the chest. It rises when the heart reaches for something just beyond its grasp. It is not harmful. It is a reminder of desire, meaning, connection. And then there is quiet sadness, the kind that arrives without a clear reason, a soft heaviness that moves in like a low cloud. This sadness often means the body is tired, the mind is overloaded, the heart needs rest. It is the body whispering, slow down, give yourself space. Something inside you needs gentleness. Sadness also carries wisdom. It shows you what matters. It reveals your values. It highlights your attachments. You do not mourn what you do not care about. Sadness is evidence of connection, evidence of meaning, evidence that life has depth. Humans often fear sadness because it is heavy, because it arrives uninvited, because it changes the tempo of life. But sadness is the companion of love. Wherever there is deep connection, sadness exists in the background as the shadow of meaning. In the brain, sadness activates regions involved with introspection. The prefrontal cortex turns inward. The insula becomes more aware of internal sensations. The amygdala slows its usual rapid firing and shifts into a reflective mode. This is why sadness makes you quiet, why it makes you thoughtful, why it makes you remember things you had forgotten. The body is reorganizing. The brain is integrating. Sadness is a recalibration. Imagine an early human sitting beside a river after losing someone dear. The water moves slowly. The sound is soft. The group sits nearby, offering silent presence. The grieving person's breath is uneven. Their chest feels tight. Eventually, tears fall. And the act of crying changes the body. The exhale lengthens. The heartbeat steadies. The shoulders soften. The body understands sadness even when the mind does not. Even in modern life, sadness flows through you with the same ancient patterns. When you feel it, your body leans inward. Your breath pauses. Your chest grows heavy. These patterns are not random. They allow the body to conserve energy, to protect itself, to signal others for support. Sadness, when given space, moves like a tide. It rises, it peaks, it falls, and afterward, something inside feels clearer, lighter, not happy, but settled. This settling is the purpose of sadness. It restores emotional equilibrium. But sadness is often resisted. People tense their bodies, hold their breath, clench their jaw, push away the feeling. When sadness is held inside like this, the emotional brain cannot complete its process. The wave gets stuck. The body keeps carrying it. This is when sadness becomes persistent heaviness rather than healing energy. The ancient rhythm is interrupted. When sadness is allowed, not as something you indulge, but as something you accept, it transforms. Acceptance is not giving in. It is giving space. When sadness is given room to move, it softens. It changes shape. Eventually, it brings clarity. It brings understanding. It brings peace. Sadness also connects humans to one another. When you share sadness with another, when someone sees your tears or hears the tremor in your voice, they understand something deep about you. They understand your heart. This connection through sadness builds intimacy, trust, and compassion. Entire cultures, families, friendships, and relationships deepen through shared sadness. It binds people in ways joy alone cannot. Even now, as you rest, sadness may feel distant or close. You may feel a gentle heaviness somewhere in the body. Perhaps the chest, perhaps the throat, perhaps the space behind the eyes. This does not mean something is wrong. It means you are human. It means the emotional system is alive. It means the body trusts you enough to let feelings rise in quiet moments. Sadness prepares the heart for the next emotion, an emotion that is hotter, sharper, more energetic, an emotion that protects boundaries and demands truth, an emotion that rises like fire where sadness flows like water. It is time to step into the ancient heat of anger. Anger. Anger is the fire of the emotional world. It rises quickly, sharply, and with unmistakable force. Where sadness settles downward like water, anger surges upward like heat. It is the emotion of boundaries, protection, truth, and energy. It is often misunderstood as something harmful, something to suppress, something to be ashamed of. But anger is one of the most essential emotions humans possess. Without it, early humans would not have survived. Without it, you would not know when something important has been crossed, threatened, or taken from you. In the deepest sense, anger is a message. It says, "This matters." It says, "Something needs to change." It says, "You have value and your boundaries deserve respect." Anger is not the same as aggression. Aggression is what happens when anger has no channel, no space, no understanding. Anger itself is information. Pure, powerful, necessary information. In the body, anger begins before you name it. The jaw tightens. The breath grows fast. Heat rises to the face, throat, or chest. The heart beats harder, sending more blood to the limbs. The muscles coil like springs. This is your body preparing to protect you. In ancient times, this energy was vital. When danger approached, anger fueled action. It helped early humans defend themselves, defend their children, defend their food, defend their community. Picture an early human standing at the edge of their camp as a predator approaches. There is fear, yes, but layered beneath that fear is something fierce, something alive, something that gives the body strength. Anger, the surge of energy that says, "This is worth fighting for." Without anger, the body would freeze. With anger, it moves, it shouts, it stands tall, it protects. Even today, the biology is the same. When you feel anger, the sympathetic nervous system ignites. Adrenaline surges, cortisol rises, blood pressure increases. These changes are not punishments. They are preparations. They are the body saying, "You have power." Something needs addressing, something needs defending, something needs to be acknowledged. But anger is not always loud. Sometimes it is quiet, slow, heavy. Sometimes anger is a simmer beneath the surface, a tightening and a pulsing behind the ribs, a tension in the shoulders that does not release. Quiet anger appears when something has been unfair for too long, when boundaries have been crossed repeatedly, when the voice inside has been ignored. Quiet anger is the body saying, "I can no longer hold this alone." Anger also rises when someone or something you love is threatened. This is protective anger, the kind that appears instantly when a child is in danger, when a friend is harmed, when a loved one is disrespected. Protective anger comes from love. It is the part of you that fights for what matters. It is the emotional equivalent of standing between someone you care for and the storm outside. There is also righteous anger, the kind that rises when you witness injustice, when you see pain inflicted on others, when the world violates something sacred. Righteous anger is not destructive. It is transformative. It has guided revolutions, changed laws, rebuilt societies. It is the emotional origin of courage, the energy behind every movement toward fairness and compassion. In relationships, anger signals unmet needs or broken trust. It appears when communication has faltered, when boundaries are unclear, when expectations have shifted without acknowledgement. Anger is the body's way of saying, something inside you needs to be expressed, something needs to be understood, something deserves to be respected. But because anger is intense and fast, many people fear it. They push it down. They tighten their bodies against it. They hold their breath. They swallow the heat instead of letting it move. When anger is suppressed, the emotional brain remains activated. The body stays in a heightened state. Muscles stay tense. The mind becomes restless. The energy has nowhere to go. In the ancient world, anger always had a physical outlet. A shout, a movement, a hunt, a confrontation, a task requiring strength. Those outlets allowed the body to release the energy of anger safely. Modern life rarely offers such clear channels. The body reacts with ancient patterns, but the environment gives no place to direct them. This is why anger often stays in the body longer than intended. Not because the emotion is wrong, but because the energy cannot complete its cycle. Anger is a wave that must rise, crest, and when it is interrupted, it remains trapped. The heartbeat stays fast, the jaw stays tight, the breath stays shallow. The emotional storm never finishes passing. When anger is allowed to move through the body safely, without harm to oneself or others, it becomes clarity, insight, strength. After the storm passes, you know what matters. You know what needs to change. You know what you must protect. Anger, when honored rather than feared, becomes a compass, a guide pointing toward truth. Imagine an ancient human returning to camp after conflict, the body still pulsing with heat, breath heavy, muscles trembling with leftover energy. But after some time, as safety returns, the nervous system shifts. The breath slows, the heart steadies, the body cools. The heat dissolves into understanding. The emotional brain realizes the danger is gone. The boundary has been protected, and the world can finally settle. This same rhythm exists in your body today. When anger flows through you and completes its cycle, a calm clarity follows, a groundedness, a sense of returning to center. This is not the calm of ignoring anger. It is the calm of processing it. Anger also has a surprising link to creativity. When the emotional brain recognizes that a boundary has been violated or that something is wrong, the mind becomes more focused, more driven, more capable of generating solutions. Anger can sharpen intelligence. It can reveal new paths. It can lead to innovation. This is why some of the greatest art, writing, scientific breakthroughs, and social transformations were born from anger channeled into creation. Anger is also tied to healing. In therapy, when someone finally feels safe enough to express anger, something profound happens in the nervous system. Muscles release tension held for years. The breath opens. Tears often follow, not because sadness replaces anger, but because the body finally feels safe enough to let go. Memoir. The emotional system is not separate compartments. Each emotion blends into the next, informs the next, shapes the next. Anger often reveals sadness that was buried. Sadness can soften anger and reveal longing. Longing can reveal love. Love can reveal fear. The emotional landscape is not a straight line. It is a circle, a cycle, a conversation. As anger settles, cooling from fire to warmth, another emotion waits at the edge of awareness. An emotion that rises not from boundaries, but from perception. An emotion that opens rather than defends. This emotion does not contract the body. It expands it. It does not narrow the mind. It widens it. It does not isolate. It connects. It is the quiet and transformative emotion known as awe. Awe. Awe enters the body like a breath you did not expect to take. It arrives with quiet fullness, expanding your chest, widening your eyes, loosening the space behind your ribs. Where anger tightens, awe opens. Where fear narrows your attention to a single point, awe dissolves the boundaries of the self and lets the world flood in. Awe is one of the rare emotions that makes you feel both small and deeply connected at the same time. It is the feeling of standing before something larger than your own life. Something vast, beautiful, or mysterious enough to quiet the mind and soften the heart. Long before humans built cities or wrote stories, awe shaped their lives. Early humans lived in landscapes filled with forces far beyond their understanding. Storms rolled across the plains, lightning tore open the sky, stars drifted overhead like silent fires. The world was enormous, powerful, unpredictable. In the presence of such magnitude, early humans felt awe. Not fear, though fear could accompany it. Not joy, though joy could follow it. Awe was its own distinct presence. A recognition of something greater, something beyond control, but not necessarily threatening. Awe taught early humans humility. It taught them reverence. It connected them to nature, to one another, and to the mysterious rhythms of existence. In the body, awe begins with stillness. When something extraordinary appears, the nervous system pauses. The breath catches softly. The eyes widen. The muscles loosen instead of tighten. This pause is not hesitation. It is absorption. The brain shifts from thinking to witnessing, from analyzing to experiencing. The prefrontal cortex, usually active with planning and self-reflection, quiets. The boundaries of the self soften. And for a moment, the world feels larger and more intimate at once. Modern neuroscience shows that awe reduces activity in the default mode network, the part of the brain responsible for self-focused thinking. When this network quiets, you feel connected to something beyond yourself. You lose track of time. You forget your worries. The emotional brain enters a rare state in which the world feels expansive, interconnected, alive. This shift is soothing, grounding, transformative. Awe brings perspective. It reminds you that your life is part of a greater whole. Imagine early humans standing at the mouth of their shelter, watching the northern lights dance across the sky, ribbons of green and purple moving like living spirits. Imagine the first time humans saw a solar eclipse, the sun disappearing into darkness, the world turning silent. These experiences shaped their emotional and spiritual lives. Awe taught them that the world was full of mystery, full of beauty, full of forces beyond comprehension. Awe encouraged curiosity. It drove early humans to explore, to understand, to seek meaning. Awe was the birthplace of wonder. Awe also shaped human cooperation. When members of a group shared awe together, their nervous systems synchronized. Their breath deepened during ceremonies, during dances, during moments of storytelling around the fire. They looked at the same horizon, the same sky, the same towering trees or migrating herds. Shared awe created unity. It reminded them that they belonged to something larger than individual survival. Awe built culture. Awe built ritual. Awe built connection. The body responds to awe with a complex blend of calm and alertness. The heart rate slows, the breath becomes deeper, but the mind becomes sharper. Awe creates a balanced state where the body feels safe enough to open and the mind feels engaged enough to learn. This combination is rare. It makes awe a powerful teacher. Awe encourages openness, reflection, and humility. It pushes the boundaries of understanding without triggering fear. Even today, awe arrives in moments that catch you by surprise. Standing on a cliff overlooking the ocean, hearing someone sing with a voice that seems to touch the soul directly, watching a child laugh with pure wonder, standing beneath ancient trees whose roots have held the earth for centuries, seeing mountains stretch into the horizon, feeling rain fall softly on your skin after weeks of heat. Awe also appears in small moments, hearing a loved one speak kindly, watching sunlight drift through dust in the air, listening to someone share a truth with vulnerability, feeling the warmth of another hand in yours. Awe is not only found in grand landscapes, it also lives in the quiet recognition of beauty in ordinary things. In the brain, awe activates pathways involved in meaning-making. When awe arrives, the mind begins connecting experiences, understanding life with deeper clarity. This is why awe often leads people to rethink their priorities, to appreciate life more, to feel gratitude. Awe is a rebalancing emotion. It reorganizes the inner world. It dissolves the small anxieties that clutter the mind. It opens space for new thoughts, new feelings, new insights. The vagus nerve, which plays a key role in emotional regulation, responds strongly to awe. When awe is present, vagal tone increases. The body drops into a state of calm connectedness. The heart rhythm becomes more coherent. The breath deepens into the belly. The nervous system moves into a harmonious state that supports healing, creativity, and emotional clarity. Awe is not just an emotion. It is a shift in consciousness, a physiological and psychological expansion. Awe also helps humans cope with uncertainty. When you see something vast, mysterious, or beautiful, your nervous system realizes that not everything needs to be understood or controlled. The world is bigger than the mind's worries, bigger than the small stresses that occupy daily life. Awe makes your problems feel smaller, not by dismissing them, but by placing them in perspective. This perspective is a gift. It allows the emotional system to reset. It reminds the mind that life contains more than difficulty. It contains beauty and mystery. It contains cycles of change and renewal. Awe reveals the world as something alive and interconnected, something you are part of, something that holds you, even when you feel lost. In spiritual traditions across the world, awe is seen as a doorway to understanding, to humility, to connection. The body responds to awe the same way it responds to profound truth, with stillness, with openness, with breath. Awe is the emotion that quiets the ego. For a moment, you stop being the center of your story. The world becomes vast and magnificent, and you become a small but essential part of it. This creates relief, peace, a sense of belonging. Even now, as you lie here, your body can remember awe. The nervous system does not need a mountain or a cathedral or a night sky to feel it. It only needs space, softness, openness. The simple act of imagining something vast can shift your physiology. A slow ocean, a wide valley, a star-filled sky, a forest older than memory. These images widen the mind, calm the breath, expand the chest. Awe prepares the emotional system for another kind of depth. It opens the mind, it softens the heart, it slows the breath. And in this quiet openness, the next chapter of emotion begins. A chapter where the body speaks clearly, where sensation becomes language, where feeling becomes understanding. It is time to enter the realm where the body communicates its truth with exquisite detail. The realm where emotion and sensation meet. The realm where the body speaks. The body speaks. The body is always speaking, always sending signals, always whispering its truth through sensation. Long before thoughts arise, long before language forms, the body communicates in the oldest vocabulary you carry. Tightness, warmth, fluttering, pressure, expansion, stillness, heaviness, softness. These sensations are not random. They are messages from the nervous system, signals that reveal what you feel long before you consciously understand it. Emotion begins as sensation. The body perceives something, and the brain interprets it. But the body speaks first. Every emotion you have ever felt has a physical signature. Fear tightens the chest. Love warms the ribs. Joy lightens the limbs. Sadness weighs on the shoulders. Anger heats the blood. Awe expands the breath. These sensations weave together the emotional landscape inside you. Interoception, the sense of the body's inner state, is the foundation of emotional life. It is one of the oldest senses humans possess. The insula, a region deep within the brain, reads signals from the heart, lungs, gut, muscles, and skin. It listens constantly. It interprets gently. It scans the entire internal world and sends signals upward to shape emotion. When you feel a knot in your stomach or a flutter in your chest, the insula is speaking through sensation. Imagine early humans sitting around a fire. They do not have words for emotion. They cannot describe anxiety, affection, anticipation, or grief. But they feel these sensations in the body, and they understand them. A tightening in the chest means something is wrong. A soft warmth means they are safe. A heavy breath means the day has been long. The body carries wisdom that predates language by hundreds of thousands of years. The gut, often called the second brain, plays a remarkable role in this ancient communication. Millions of neurons line the digestive tract. These neurons respond to stress, safety, hunger, and emotion. When you feel nervous, the gut tightens. When you feel relieved, the gut loosens. When you feel excited, the gut flutters. These sensations are not metaphors. They are biological truths. The gut communicates directly with the brain through the vagus nerve, a pathway that sends more information upward from body to brain than downward from brain to body. The body leads, the mind follows. The heart speaks too. It changes rhythm with every emotion. Fear makes it beat fast and sharp. Calm makes it slow and steady. Sadness makes it heavy and uneven. Joy smooths it into soft waves. The brain reads these rhythms and shapes emotion accordingly. Even a single deep breath changes the heart's rhythm, and that shift sends a message of safety to the brain. The body teaches the mind how to feel. The skin is another ancient storyteller. It responds to every emotion. When you feel afraid, the skin tightens. When you feel vulnerable, the skin becomes sensitive. When you feel awe, the skin releases goosebumps. When you feel warmth towards someone, the temperature of your skin subtly rises near the chest. Touch amplifies this language. A gentle hand on the shoulder, a soft embrace, even the brush of someone's fingers can calm the nervous system. Skin-to-skin contact releases oxytocin, lowers stress hormones, and activates pathways of safety. The breath carries emotional truth more clearly than words. Short breaths reveal fear, worry, or urgency. Long breaths reveal safety, acceptance, and rest. Breath is both messenger and medicine. It shows what you feel and can gently shift what you feel. When breath becomes softer, the brain receives a signal of safety. The emotional brain quiets. Muscles release. The body opens. The body does not lie. It cannot pretend. It cannot hide emotion the way the mind can. But the body can grow quiet if ignored for too long. Sensations can become muted. Emotional signals can become tangled. Many people move through life disconnected from their bodies, so the emotional messages become harder to understand. This does not mean the body stops speaking. It simply speaks more softly, hoping you will eventually listen. When you finally pause, when the world grows quiet, when the breath slows, when the body becomes still, its messages rise to the surface. A heaviness in the chest that reveals sadness, a tightness in the jaw that reveals anger, a flutter in the stomach that reveals longing, a warmth that reveals affection, an openness that reveals peace. This inner language is always available to you, even now, as you lie here, listening, noticing, sensing. The body continues to sense signals. Perhaps your shoulders feel heavy in a way that signals rest. Perhaps your breath feels deeper in a way that signals safety. Perhaps your hands feel loose and warm. These small sensations are precious. They are emotional truths speaking in physical form. For early humans, this language was survival. A subtle change in the wind caused the skin to tighten. The body sensed danger before the mind knew why. A sense of fullness in the chest meant the group was safe. A warm pulse in the ribs meant affection from another. These sensations bonded communities long before speech existed. Even today, connection is felt first in the body. When you sit with someone you love, your heart rate synchronizes with theirs. Your breathing begins to mirror theirs. Your muscles relax in their presence. This is not something you consciously control. It is an ancient biological rhythm called co-regulation. The body regulates itself through connection with others. The body also speaks through posture. When you feel discouraged, the shoulders curl inward. When you feel confident, the chest opens. When you feel afraid, the spine tightens. When you feel safe, the body spreads out and relaxes. These postures are not chosen. They happen naturally. The body reveals the truth even when the mind cannot articulate it. Sensation is the first step in emotional understanding. Awareness of sensation is the second, and acceptance of sensation is the third. When you allow the body to speak without judgment, emotion begins to soften. When you notice tightness without resisting it, the tightness loosens. When you acknowledge heaviness in the chest, the heaviness begins to shift. When you simply feel what you feel, the nervous system relaxes. Imagine sitting quietly beside a river at dusk, the air cool, the water moving slowly, the body settling into the earth. In this stillness, you feel everything more clearly. The warmth in your chest, the slow rhythm of your breath, the slight heaviness behind the eyes, the quiet pulse in the throat. These sensations are the body speaking in its original language. The body is not a machine. It is a living conversation. Every heartbeat, every breath, every subtle shift of muscle or skin or temperature is part of this conversation. You do not need to translate every message. You only need to listen. With time, the body becomes a trusted companion instead of something mysterious or overwhelming. When the body speaks, it reveals stories stored inside you. Stories held not in words but in sensations and patterns. These stories connect emotion to memory. They shape identity. They shape your understanding of the world. They shape your sense of self. And so the next part of this long journey will dive deeper into the way emotional experiences become memories, into how the brain stores the stories of your life, into how feelings become woven into the mind's narrative. Now we move gently into the landscape of emotional memory. Emotional memory. Memory is not a simple recording of events. It is shaped, colored, carved, and sealed by emotion. Every memory you hold carries a feeling woven into it. The mind does not store moments because they happened. It stores them because they meant something, because the body reacted, because the emotional brain took notice. Emotion is the sculptor of memory, and every feeling leaves its imprint on the mind. Deep within the brain, the hippocampus weaves the tapestry of your past. It takes the raw sensations of experience and binds them with context. Where you were, what you saw, the tone of someone's voice, the softness of the light. But it does not decide alone what stays and what fades. The amygdala stands beside it, watching closely. If an experience carries strong emotion, the amygdala signals the hippocampus, remember this. Store it deeply, etch it into the mind. For early humans, this process was essential. A moment of danger needed to be remembered, so it would not be repeated. A moment of safety needed to be cherished so it could be found again. A moment of connection needed to be stored so bonds could be strengthened. Emotional memory constructed the inner map of survival. It taught early humans where to go, where to stay, who to trust, and what to avoid. Emotion and memory became so deeply intertwined that even today one can awaken the other instantly. A smell can transport you to childhood. A melody can open a forgotten door in the mind. A taste can bring back a face you have not seen in years. These memories do not return because the mind decided to retrieve them. They return because the emotional brain recognizes something familiar in the body's sensations. The body remembers long before the mind does. This is why certain places make your chest feel light, why certain voices calm you instantly, why certain situations tighten your stomach without warning. These reactions are emotional echoes, the body responding to the memory stored within it. Memory is not just in the mind. It is held in breath, posture, heartbeat, and muscle tension. Some memories are vivid because they are tied to intense emotion. The first time you loved someone, the moment you lost someone, a moment of triumph, a moment of fear, a moment of joy so pure it still warms your chest. These memories feel alive because the emotional brain still holds them close. They shaped you. They changed you. They built part of who you are. Other memories are quieter. The soft ritual of childhood mornings, the way sunlight fell through a window, the scent of something cooking, the warmth of being held. These moments carry gentle emotions. The emotional brain stores them like soft threads woven into your identity. Not sharp, not vivid, but foundational. They are the background music of your life. But emotional memory is not always peaceful. Sometimes the body holds memories that the mind wishes to forget. Moments of fear, pain, confusion, loss. The emotional brain stores these experiences with intensity, believing they are important for survival. The body learns to react quickly when something resembles those moments. The heart speeds, the muscles tense, the breath shortens. Even if the mind says everything is safe, the body speaks the language of history. This does not mean you are broken. It means your emotional system learned deeply. It recognized danger in the past and continues to try to protect you. These reactions are old strategies, born from moments when the body believed the world needed vigilance. The body holds on until it feels safe enough to let go. Emotional memory does not release through willpower. It releases through safety, through gentleness, through time. Memory is also shaped by the stories you tell. After an experience passes, the mind interprets it. Why did this happen? What does it mean about me? What does it mean about the world? These interpretations become part of the emotional memory itself. They reinforce certain feelings, deepen certain pathways. If you learned that you were not safe, The body stores that story alongside the memory. If you learned that you were loved, the body stores that too. But emotional memories can shift. They are not fixed. When new experiences arise, safe experiences, connected experiences, healing experiences, the emotional brain begins to rewrite old patterns. Safety felt repeatedly rewires fear. Being seen rewrites shame. Holding someone's hand rewrites the memory of loneliness. The emotional brain listens to new information. It changes. It adapts. It grows. Consider a child who was afraid of storms. The body remembers the loud thunder, the bright flashes of light. But imagine that same child being held by someone gentle during a storm. Over time, the emotional memory shifts. The storm becomes associated with safety instead of fear. The body learns a new story. The heartbeat no longer races. The breath no longer tightens. Emotional memory transforms through experience. Even now, your body carries memories you may not fully understand. A heaviness in the chest that appears in certain places. A warmth that appears around certain people. A tension in the shoulders during certain conversations. These are echoes, signals from the past. Messages carved into muscle and breath. Emotional memory also shapes identity. Who you believe yourself to be is influenced by the emotional tone of your memories. If the emotional brain remembers moments of kindness, you learn to trust the world. If it remembers moments of safety, you learn to trust yourself. If it holds moments of connection, you learn to reach out. If it holds moments of fear, you learn to brace. If it holds moments of shame, you learn to hide. But identity is not fixed. It shifts as emotional memory shifts. When you experience new forms of love, new forms of connection, new forms of understanding, the emotional brain updates its map. You begin to see yourself through new emotional colors. Healing is not forgetting. Healing is remembering in a different way. Memory can be softened. It can be reinterpreted. It can be reclaimed. This happens naturally when the body feels safe, when breath deepens, when the nervous system grows quiet. In moments like this one, when the world is soft and the mind is receptive, emotional memory becomes fluid. It becomes ready to be rewritten. As emotional memory settles inside you, another form of emotional life begins to rise. The wisdom that comes not from the past, but from present awareness. The art of understanding your emotions as they unfold. The capacity to regulate without suppressing, to feel without drowning, to move through the emotional world with clarity and balance. Now we enter the realm of emotional wisdom. Emotional wisdom. Emotional wisdom is not the absence of strong feelings. It is the ability to move with them rather than against them. To understand their messages without being overwhelmed. To allow them to rise and fall like waves without trying to cage them or outrun them. Emotional wisdom is the art of listening to the body. The art of understanding the ancient language written in sensation, breath, and rhythm. It is not something taught in childhood or in school. It grows through experience, awareness, and gentle attention. In the earliest human societies, emotional wisdom was a necessity. People lived close to the earth, close to one another, close to danger, close to possibility. They needed to understand fear. They needed to understand anger. They needed to understand love and sadness and joy. These emotions guided their survival, shaped their relationships, protected their communities. Emotional wisdom was passed through stories told around fires, through observation of elders, through experience in nature. It was not named, but it was learned. It lived in the body. Today, emotional wisdom still lives in the body. It begins with recognition. The simple act of noticing what you feel with clarity. The tightness in the throat, the heaviness in the chest, the warmth spreading through the ribs, the energy rising up the spine. These sensations are the first step. When you notice them without judgment, without rushing to interpret, you open the door to emotional wisdom. Awareness is the foundation. Many people try to regulate emotions before they understand them, but regulation without awareness becomes suppression. Emotional wisdom asks you to slow down, to feel first, then understand, then respond. The order matters. Emotion, sensation, recognition, understanding, response. This rhythm mirrors the natural rhythm of the nervous system. It does not fight emotion, it flows with it. The next layer of emotional wisdom is acceptance, not resignation, not passivity. Acceptance is the recognition that feelings are part of being human, that they come and go like weather, that they carry messages worth hearing. Acceptance does not encourage you to drown in emotion. It invites you to make space for it, to hold it gently, to let it move through you. When the body senses acceptance, the nervous system relaxes, the breath deepens, the emotional brain feels safe enough to release its intensity. Imagine an early human sitting alone at night, feeling the heaviness of sadness or the sharpness of anger. There is no distraction, no noise, no constant stimulation. Only the body, the breath, and the vast sky above. In that stillness, the human learns to feel without running. This is emotional wisdom in its earliest form. Stillness, presence, breath. In modern life, stillness is rare. The mind is flooded with stimulation, the body with tension, the senses with noise. Emotions rise but do not complete their cycle. They become tangled, stuck, confusing. Emotional wisdom requires slowing down the pace of the internal world so the emotional waves can move naturally again. Another part of emotional wisdom is naming. When you feel something and find a word for it, the brain shifts. The prefrontal cortex becomes active, helping regulate the intensity of the feeling. Naming is not about labeling to judge. It is about acknowledging with clarity. This is fear. This is sadness. This is longing. This is joy. This is shame. This is hope. When emotion becomes named, it becomes known. When it becomes known, it becomes manageable. When it becomes manageable, it becomes meaningful. Emotional wisdom turns emotion from something chaotic into something communicative. The next layer is curiosity. Emotional wisdom asks gentle questions, not harsh ones, not interrogations. Questions like, what sensation do I feel in my body? What might this emotion be trying to tell me? Where have I felt this before? Is this emotion about the present moment or the past echoing itself? What do I need right now? These questions activate the parts of the brain responsible for insight and regulation. Curiosity softens judgment. Curiosity creates space. Curiosity allows emotion to unfold rather than collapse inward. Another element of emotional wisdom is the ability to soothe the nervous system. Soothing is different from suppressing. It is the gentle act of guiding the body back into balance. Early humans found soothing in nature, in the sound of water, in the glow of fire, in the rhythm of walking, in the breath of another body nearby. You carry these same pathways within you. Soothing can happen through slow breathing, gentle movement, quiet reflection, the presence of someone safe, or even the simple act of placing a hand on your chest. The body responds to soothing before the mind does. A softened breath can dissolve tension without a single thought. A relaxed posture can calm the amygdala. A long exhale can tell the emotional brain that the moment is safe. Emotional wisdom recognizes that the body is the doorway to regulation, not the mind. Part of emotional wisdom is also the ability to differentiate between emotions. Fear and excitement share similar physiological signatures. Sadness and exhaustion can feel alike. Anger can mask hurt. Love can hide beneath longing. Emotional wisdom helps you untangle these threads. It teaches you to feel the subtle differences, to sense the quiet nuances. There is also resilience. Emotional wisdom does not mean you avoid strong emotions. It means you learn to trust that you can move through them, that no emotion is permanent, that every wave rises and falls, that the body knows how to return to equilibrium when given space. Resilience is not strength without feeling. It is strength through feeling. Imagine an early human standing in the rain after a loss, feeling the cold, feeling the grief, feeling the breath move slowly through the body, and then, after time, feeling the heaviness lighten, feeling the breath deepen, feeling life move forward. This is resilience, the body restoring itself, the emotional system finding its way back to center. Emotional wisdom grows through compassion, not only for others, but for yourself. Compassion softens the harsh edges of self-judgment. It quiets shame. It calms the emotional brain. When you treat yourself with kindness, the nervous system relaxes and emotional balance becomes possible. Compassion is not indulgence. It is alignment with the truth of being human. A crucial part of emotional wisdom is understanding that emotions are not enemies. They are guides. Every emotion carries a message. Fear says, pay attention. Anger says, protect yourself. Sadness says, let go. Joy says, engage. Love says, connect. Awe says, expand. The body speaks in the language of emotion, and emotional wisdom is the art of listening with clarity. Another layer is integration. After feeling and understanding an emotion, the mind integrates the experience. It creates meaning. It learns. It adjusts. Integration is what allows emotional experiences to shape identity in healthy ways. It turns pain into understanding, confusion into clarity, fear into discernment, longing into direction. Integration transforms emotional storms into emotional growth. Finally, emotional wisdom includes boundaries. Boundaries are not walls. They are clarity. They are the gentle recognition of where you end and another begins. Boundaries protect emotional balance. They help the nervous system feel safe. They prevent overwhelm. They sustain connection by making interactions clear and respectful. Boundaries are acts of emotional care. As emotional wisdom deepens, life feels less like something to endure and more like something to navigate. The emotional landscape becomes familiar, not predictable, but understandable. The body becomes a trusted guide rather than a mystery. The mind becomes a companion to emotion rather than a judge. And as these skills settle inside you, the emotional system becomes ready to look forward, to imagine what emotion will mean in the future, how technology will shape feelings, how culture will evolve, how the inner world will change as the outer world changes. Now we move into the horizon ahead, into the shifting landscape of the future of emotion. The future of emotion. The future of emotion is not something distant. It is unfolding now, moment by moment, as humans change the way they live, communicate, connect, and understand themselves. Emotion has always evolved alongside human life. It evolved when humans first learned to walk upright, when they began forming groups, when they created language, when they built rituals, when they discovered fire, when they shaped culture. Emotion is not static. It is alive. It adapts. It responds to the world as the world changes. And now, humanity stands at the beginning of a new era, one where technology, society, and biology are merging in ways that will transform emotional life. To see the future of emotion, imagine standing on a vast horizon where ancient instincts meet modern complexity. The emotional systems in your body are millions of years old, shaped in forests, savannas, and caves. But the world you live in is only decades old in comparison. The nervous system evolved for a life where each sound mattered, each face was familiar, each night sky was free from artificial light. Yet the modern world surrounds you with information, speed, and connection that your emotional system must now interpret. This conflict and convergence shape the future of feeling. Technology is one of the greatest forces reshaping emotion. Humans now live in constant connection. Messages arrive instantly. Images flash across screens. Voices travel across continents. This has created new forms of emotional communication. A message from someone you love can soothe you instantly, even from thousands of miles away. A video call can soften loneliness. Technology has opened new emotional pathways, making connection faster and broader than at any point in history. But it has also created challenges. The nervous system did not evolve for constant stimulation. The emotional brain reacts to digital information as if it is happening physically. A stressful message can tighten the chest. An unexpected notification can cause a spike of adrenaline. A curated image can trigger comparison and insecurity. The emotional brain struggles to distinguish between digital threat and real threat, between digital acceptance and real acceptance, between digital connection and embodied connection. The future of emotion will require new forms of emotional literacy. Artificial intelligence will play a profound role in emotional life. Machines are beginning to understand tone, facial expressions, patterns of speech, and emotional cues. AI will one day help people regulate stress, understand their emotional patterns, track their mood, and even anticipate emotional needs. Some may rely on AI for comfort, reflection, or presence, especially in moments of loneliness. The emotional brain may begin forming attachments not only to humans, but to intelligent systems designed to soothe, to guide, to reflect. This does not diminish human connection. Instead, it will require humans to explore new boundaries and understand what emotional intimacy truly means. Emotional authenticity may become an even greater value as technology blurs the lines between digital and real. The future will not erase human feeling, it will highlight it. It will challenge humans to define what it means to feel deeply, honestly, and meaningfully in a world where connection is everywhere, yet often fleeting. The body will remain central in the future of emotion. No matter how advanced technology becomes, emotion will still begin with the heart, the breath, the gut, the muscles, the skin. These ancient systems cannot be replaced. They are the foundation of being human. As the world accelerates, people will increasingly turn toward embodiment practices, meditation, breathwork, grounding, movement, rest. Emotional wisdom will require a return to the body, not an escape from it. Culture will also shape future emotions. As societies become more interconnected, humans will learn from one another's emotional practices. Some cultures value emotional expression. Others value emotional restraint. Some emphasize joy, others humility, others harmony, others ambition. As cultures merge, emotional norms will blend. People will learn new ways of soothing themselves, new ways of relating, new ways of expressing love and grief. Emotional diversity will grow. The future will also bring a deeper understanding of trauma and healing. Neuroscience is already revealing how emotional wounds shape the nervous system, how the body carries memory, how safety rewires the brain. In the future, healing will no longer be seen as a personal weakness, but as an integral part of human life. Emotional well-being will become a central aspect of education, healthcare, and community. Children will learn emotional literacy as naturally as they learn language. Adults will understand their inner world with greater clarity. Entire societies may begin to prioritize emotional safety alongside physical safety. As emotional understanding expands, compassion will become more essential. In a world filled with rapid change, compassion acts as a stabilizing force. It softens fear. It bridges differences. It helps people stay grounded in the shared truth of human vulnerability. Compassion reminds humans that everyone carries an inner landscape shaped by experience, sensation, memory, and hope. The future of emotion will require deeper compassion, not only for others, but for oneself. Human identity will also shift. For thousands of years, humans have defined themselves through roles, achievements, tribes, beliefs. But as emotional understanding grows, identity will increasingly be shaped from within. People will define themselves through presence, awareness, and the capacity to feel. Authenticity will replace performance. Vulnerability will replace pretense. Emotional depth will become a measure of strength rather than weakness. And yet, despite all these changes, the heart of emotion will remain the same. The body will still tighten in fear. It will still warm in love. It will still expand in awe. It will still soften in safety. Technology may change, but biology holds its ancient truth. Every emotion you feel today is connected to the first humans who ever felt it. Every heartbeat carries their legacy. Every breath repeats their story. The future of emotion is not a departure from the past. It is a continuation, a deeper understanding, a fuller expression. Imagine a future human standing beneath a sky filled with stars and satellites. They breathe slowly, feeling the steady rhythm of their body. They sense the distant hum of technology and the ancient pulse of their heart. Both truths coexist. Both shape their emotional world. They feel wonder. They feel connection. They feel alive. Emotion remains the bridge between the outer world and the inner one. The future will only expand this bridge. And as this long journey through human emotion comes toward its quiet end, you return once more to the body, to the breath, to the slow rhythm beneath your ribs, to the gentle truth that emotion is not something to master, but something to understand, something to honor, something to experience with softness and awareness. Now the story returns to stillness, to the closing reflections, to the quiet resting place of the emotional journey. A quiet return. The journey through emotion begins in the body, and it ends there too. All the science, all the storytelling, all the history of feeling leads back to this simple truth. You are a living being who senses the world from the inside out. Every heartbeat, every breath, every quiet shift of warmth or heaviness or softness is part of the language your body has spoken since the beginning of human life. And now, at the end of this long exploration, you return to that language with greater clarity, with gentleness, with presence. The night has grown deeper around you. The mind has traveled far, from the first sparks of feeling in ancient humans to the complex emotional landscapes of the modern world. You have wandered through fear, love, joy, sadness, anger, awe. You have listened to the body speak. You have traced the pathways of emotional memory. You have stepped into the expanding horizon of what emotion may one day become. And through it all, there has been a rhythm beneath your awareness. A rhythm steady and ancient, the rhythm of your own existence. It moves quietly now, slow, soft, spacious. The breath, a warm tide rising and falling. The heart, a gentle drum steady in the background. The muscles, heavier than before. The mind, drifting between wakefulness and rest. It is here, in this softened state, that the truth of emotion becomes clearest. Emotion is not chaos. It is communication. It is the way your body and mind keep you alive, connected, responsive, human. Emotion guides you toward what matters, away from what harms, and into the arms of what heals. It shapes meaning. It shapes memory. It shapes the very sense of being alive. Imagine for a moment the earliest humans settling to rest after a long day, the fire glowing softly, embers breathing light into the dark. The group gathering close, their bodies relaxing as the night deepens. In those moments, feelings softened. Fear released its grip. Anger cooled. Joy became quiet. Sadness rested. Love warmed the space between them. Awe flickered in the stars overhead. These moments were not different from this one. They were moments of returning, of settling, of becoming still enough to hear the body speak again. Now, as you lie here, the emotional system shifts into its most restful state. The sympathetic currents of the day finally drain from your limbs. The parasympathetic system rises gently, like a tide coming in. The breath spreads through the belly. The shoulders soften into gravity. The jaw loosens. The throat opens. The body feels safe enough to surrender to rest. This surrender is not weakness. It is wisdom. It is the body saying, "You have done enough today." It is the mind saying, "There is nothing left to solve right now." It is the heart saying, "It is safe to let go." Emotional rest is not simply the absence of emotion. It is the quiet balancing of the entire inner world. The emotional brain becomes soft. The amygdala lowers its guard. The insula quiets its constant scanning of sensation. The prefrontal cortex drifts into a gentle state of less effort, less analysis, less control. The body returns to its baseline, a place of calm presence. In this state, the boundaries of emotion blur. Joy and sadness mingle, forming a soft neutrality. Fear and safety meet, creating stillness. Love and longing weave together into a warm heaviness in the chest. Anger dissolves into quiet pulses of warmth. Awe becomes a wide open space inside the breath. Rest is not emptiness. It is emotional integration. It is the body sorting, settling, storing, healing. Emotional rest is where the nervous system repairs itself, where the heart finds equilibrium, where the mind resets and renews, where the emotional waves of the day fall into a gentle tide. Feel the weight of your body now, how it sinks slightly deeper with each breath, how the bed holds you, how gravity feels like a warm hand guiding you downward. There is nowhere to go, nothing to perform, nothing to contain. This is the moment where all effort ends and simply being begins. You have traveled through the great range of human emotion, and now you return to the simplest form of feeling: presence, breath, weight, warmth, stillness. These sensations are enough. They are the foundation of every emotion you have ever felt. They are your home. Let the breath glide in and out, steady and slow. Let the chest rise gently, fall gently. Let the muscles soften one by one. Let the heaviness spread through your arms, legs, face. Let the eyelids grow heavier. Let the edge of wakefulness loosen its grip. The emotional world does not disappear as you drift towards sleep. It moves softly into dreams. The mind continues its quiet work, weaving the stories of the day into new patterns, releasing what you no longer need, holding what matters, transforming experience into understanding. Sleep is the final chapter of emotional regulation. It is where the body recalibrates, where memories settle, where the heart finds its rhythm again, where the emotional brain heals in darkness and silence. As you approach that boundary between waking and sleep, let this understanding settle inside you. Emotion is not something that happens to you. It is something that is you. It is the poetry of your biology, the voice of your nervous system, the story your body has been telling since the beginning of your life, the language of every ancestor who came before you. Emotion is the thread that connects you to all of humanity. The same fear your ancestors felt when they heard thunder in the night, the same joy they felt when holding a newborn child, the same anger that rose when their boundaries were crossed, the same sadness they felt in loss, the same awe they felt under the stars. You carry all of them within you. Their feelings live in your blood, in your breath, in your bones. You are the latest chapter in a story millions of years long, a story written in emotion, a story written in the body. And as you drift now into rest, the final words of this story settle like dust in warm sunlight, soft, quiet, gentle. The emotional system folds itself into stillness. The body becomes heavy and quiet. The breath becomes slow and even. The world narrows to warmth and darkness. Allow the quiet to wrap around you like a blanket. Allow the breath to guide you deeper. Allow the emotional waves to settle into calm water. Allow the body to speak its final message of the night. Rest. You are safe. You are held. You can let go now. The language of the body continues even in sleep. But for now you drift. You settle. You soften. You return. And slowly, gently, peacefully, you fall into the quiet world within.